What's going on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube? Today, we're going to be talking about monthly dividend income and go off of this Motley Fool article and see if I agree if these monthly dividends are worth the purchase. Now, I'm not a financial expert and Motley Fool has some are the expert, but I'm just some guy on YouTube, do my due diligence, and I wanted to see if I agree with these stocks that they recommend. So at the end of the day, dividend income monthly sounds great, but that's if the stocks are good. So let's take a look at this and subscribe to the video. That really does help with the algorithm. Alright, so the best dividend stocks to buy for reliable monthly income. This was written by Matt from Motley Fools, and let's see what they recommend. And they recommend Realty Income, ticker symbol O. That's the first one they recommend. They do go in detail why. They have had declared 669 consecutive monthly dividend. So let's look at this stock and see if it's worth having. So ticker symbol O, Realty Income. And here's the thing. If it does well, I will add it to my dividend portfolio because it does sound great. But I have to look at it and see if I really agree with Motley Fools. So Realty Income, ticker symbol O, year to date, they're up 6%. That's pretty good. 1 year, they're up 6.94%. With a dividend of 5.42%, that roughly adds together, 6 plus 5 is 11. And then you add another 1 for it. It's a 12% growth a year. So that's not a bad growth. So let's check the 3 years. 3 years, oh man, it's at 0.23. So you kind of flatline it there. And 5 years is actually a negative 15.02. So at that point, maybe in short term, having it in a dividend portfolio is great, but long term, it looks like your growth just kind of stays where it's at. So that's not something I would want. I want growth for my dividend portfolio. So right there, it doesn't look good. But before I say if it's good or not to add to your portfolio, let's see what AI says. Valuation is 1 out of 6. Earnings 6 out of 6. Future growth is 5 out of 6. Historical performance is 5 out of 6. And financial health is 1 out of 6. Interesting. Let's look at the finances. See if reason why. So, have they been growing their revenue? Yes, it looks like they've been growing their revenue about 500 or 0.5 billion a year or 500 million. And that they've been pretty consistent about it. So, okay, they are growing. So it does look reasonable. Growth margin is 92.54%. That's a really good growth margin. Operation expense is 75. Operation income is 16 with a net profit of 18%. And they maintain between 17 to 20% on average. So they do have a good net profit. So let's see what their balance sheet looks like. See if it's worth having. Let's check their long-term debt. Okay, here's the issue I have. Their long-term debt is increasing, and I cannot agree with a long-term debt increase. They're taking on more and more risk, and their intangible asset or their identity is worth 10.65 billion, where their long-term debt is actually more than what they're worth. So they're actually worth negative 18 billion if you add these together. So they're actually one of the companies that I can't recommend because guess what? The long-term debt is increasing. The intangible, and if you don't know what intangible, it's just an asset that is not physical in nature, such as goodwill, brand recognition, intelligent property. It's what they're worth, their name. and their name is worth 10.65 billion, and their long-term debt is worth 28.79 billion. So if you do that, they're $18 billion in the negative of that. So that is something I can't agree with. And let's check the free cash flow. Their free cash flow is negative 784 million. And they went from the year before of 189 million to a negative. So looking at the 2018, 2019, 2020, they're a negative cash flow company. So no, I do not recommend buying Realty Income O. And what they do is they are real estate investment trusts. So the company is engaged in acquisition, ownership, and management of freestanding commercial property. So if they're managing properties and they're in a negative free cash flow, where are they getting the money from? They're borrowing it to pay dividends. That is my assumption. Are they really doing that? I don't know. But I will assume they're doing that when their long-term debt is going up and their free cash flow is negative. So no, I cannot recommend Realty Income, even though they have a great history of paying dividend long term. It looks like they're good growth. Their underlying of the whole thing is not good. So let's look at the next one. See, the best dividend stock to buy that's reliable income. And it looks like that's the only one they recommend. And I don't agree with them on this one. So, like, subscribe to my video. That's all I got for you.